Cuba to 50 years after the revolution. In many ways, the communist island in the Caribbean has managed to survive the last 50 years despite many hardships. Since the revolution, which reached a climax on the 1st of January 1959, Cuba has seen the attempted Bay of Pigs invasion, a few assassination attempts against Fidel Castro, the collapse of its best friend, the Soviet Union, and a decades-long U.S. trade embargo. One of the effects of the embargo is that the streets of the Cuban capital, Havana, are still filled with many of the same old American cars that were here when Fidel Castro came to power 50 years ago. After years of economic hardship, Cubans have become masters of improvisation. Cars no longer have their original engines. They have often been replaced by fuel-saving Japanese or Russian ones. It's really hard to get spare parts, and some people even make them by hand. Some Cubans would like to have a new car, but they can't even if they could afford one. The only cars that they are legally allowed to buy or sell are those built before the revolution. It's the same with housing. Most Cubans have their own homes and can pass them on to their children, but there is no open market to buy or sell land or property. One of the goals of Fidel Castro's revolution was to create a classless society. Private companies were banned, and everyone from doctors to factory workers was paid the same. Today, Cuba has one of the most centrally controlled, state-run economies left in the world. It is not very productive, and the average salary is about 20 euros a month. Since he took over from his old brother in 2006, Raul Castro has begun some modest but symbolic reforms. In a speech earlier this year, he claimed that socialism means the equality of rights and opportunities, but not salaries. President Castro has ordered that workers should receive bonuses based on their productivity. He has also started to give land to private farmers. If you take a drive out of Havana, you will see how much land has become useless. Cuba should be able to produce enough food itself, but instead it spends 1.5 billion euros a year on imports. It is the small private sector which produces most of the food. After selling a certain amount of fruit and vegetables to the state, a farmer can go to a market and sell the rest of it there. Education and health are both known here as triumphs of the revolution. The health statistics are also impressive. All the key figures from infant mortality to life expectancy are among the best in the Americas. There are more doctors per 1,000 inhabitants than anywhere else in the world. Healthcare has now become a major export. Cuba sends tens of thousands of doctors and health workers to some of the poorest parts of Latin America and Africa. We share our resources with those who have nothing. We've got 70,000 doctors. There are only 50,000 for the whole of Africa.